Hi everybody, I'm Alan Van Slyke, Senior Producer on Gears of War Judgment.
So let's talk a little about how things have been developing when it comes to Gears of War, especially with the extra development time you guys have had here at Epic.
Development time has been awesome. We're really fortunate to have gotten in early development with People Can Fly over our sister studio over in Warsaw, and getting them involved, from pre-production all the way through production. And we're at the point now where we're hoping to be wrapping up and in bug fixing and tuning, and really happy with the progress we've made.
How you guys work together? I mean, they're all the way over in Poland, and you guys are here in North Carolina.
Yeah, lots of effort. So, they send people over here, we send people over there. I've been over there, frequently myself and spent a lot of time over in Warsaw. And we're also really fortunate to have great equipment here and stuff as well. So, the morning starts on iOS, right, with, exchanging emails and looking at what progress they've made before we even come into the studio. And then frequently, we'll just either get on Skype or on video conference and spend time with them daily, really, figuring out what things need to be done or getting our designers together to make sure everybody's on the same page. So we're talking, throughout the day for sure. And then, we continue to work a little bit after they go home and they start before we do. But, other than that, we're really aligned closely.
Were there any influences? People know those guys really well from working in the past on Painkiller and Bulletstorm, as well as on some of the Gears games. But were there influences that you feel will come out when people play Gears of War Judgment?
Oh, absolutely. I think, some of the earliest stuff that they set up, some of the stuff that really adds to the sense of urgency for Gears of War Judgment probably was influenced by some of their earlier works. And so some of the systems they set up early, like the Smart Spawn system, which is a system in the campaign that depending on how you play, if you push forward, it'll spawn enemies behind you. If you stay back, it might spawn enemies to the side, and also dynamically adjusts how many enemies are coming at you and what enemy types. So you might play through it the first time and have tickers and wretches, and then play through it again and get Cantus and maulers. And so there's a lot of this sense of urgency, always on the tips of your toes stuff that I think probably comes from a lot of their history and a lot of the pedigree and the things that they've done that have really helped us flavor Gears of War Judgment and push Gears of War franchise forward.
One of the things you guys have done with the Gears of War games over the years is really cater to both the hardcore and the more mainstream. You guys are now 19 million copies sold, $1 billion in revenue. How does the more mainstream gamers, that's the audience that's growing out there, influence how you guys develop Judgment?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I think we've never had a punch list of what things do we want to add to the game to get more players. I think we've taken far more of the approach of hey, this is Gears of War. This is our valuable franchise, and how do we want to groom it? And what things are the community asking for, and what things do we can we do to kind of satisfy the community base and add it and make the best game possible, and then hopefully the people will come along kind of enjoy it with us and with our community, right?
But you guys have been pushing things when it comes to accessibility in these games, both Gears 3 and more recently this game. Can you talk a little about that?
Yeah, absolutely. We've made really significant kind of improvements and optimizations across the board, both in single player and in multiplayer. You'll see things that cross the game modes, things like optimized control scheme, right? So no longer in Gears of War, if you're familiar with the franchise, do you have the kind of clunky, select the weapon, kind of D-pad interaction. Now it's just Y is a quick weapon swap. So you get two weapons, boom, boom. You can switch between weapons. We have automatic ammo pickup, so as you walk over the ammo, automatically vacuums it up. We have, left button now is a grenade toss, a quick grenade toss. So again, if you want to aim the grenade, you can hold it down, you can get the trajectory indicator, and you can drop the grenade exactly where you want it. But if you want that quick grenade toss, both in campaign and in multiplayer, boom, just hit the left bumper and left button, and it'll drop the grenade quickly. So there's just a lot of accessibility, speed, kind of optimizations that we've made in the controller and in other systems in the game to get people in and running right off the bat.
And replayability is something that game companies are always focusing on these days as well. Can you talk a little about how you guys have designed this for people to go back and play?
Absolutely. We introduced a number of systems. The dynamic spawn system, one of the things I talked about earlier, is one of those key systems where it's you think that you have a water cooler moment, right, where you've been attacked by a certain set of enemies in a certain fashion, but as you play through it again, those enemies will come at you, different enemies will come at you. They'll come at you from different locations and in different quantities and ratios. So the entire dynamic spawn system is a big evolution from what we've traditionally had in Gears. Another big system that we introduced is called the declassification system. So there's kind of two ways that you can play through the campaign. One is in a classified fashion. So as you can imagine, when you're giving testimony, right, to this military tribunal, you're giving them either one set of information or the other, right? So you're either giving them the classified information, which is one way to play through the mission, a very standard kind of way to play through the mission, or you can optionally choose to opt into this declassification mechanism, which changes the story, changes the circumstances and the rule set by which you're playing, makes it more challenging and gives you more reward. And so you can play through it multiple times. And the reward component, transitioning into the reward component, we introduced a star system. And so for each section of the game, you kind of can get 0 to 3 stars. And those stars can even be a different gradient depending on the difficulty level that you're playing. So you might, this is a bragging system for you and your friends, right? Or a completionist thing. So it's like if you want to try to get through it on insane, on a certain section, then it's like 3 onyx stars, right? And whereas if you played through it on normal, the maximum might be like 3 like gold stars. And so, you get 0 to 3 stars depending on on your performance. So like, the more executions, the more ribbons, the more kills, the more stars that you get. And then the declassifications, that challenge kind of like modifier that I mentioned earlier, that will help you get additional stars. And so all these things tie into, am I a completionist, right? Do I want 3 stars across the board? Do I want 3 onyx stars across the board? And then also for replayability, it's like those stars that you accumulate across all the missions, those unlock like really significant content components. So not only like maybe I'm a completionist, but also like I want all of this additional content. And so it's like, yeah, I'm going to quickly replay this little section so that I can get some additional stars, with the declassification, so and get more ribbons or get more execution so that I can maximize my stars, unlock all of this cool content. So we've done a whole bunch with with the smart spawn system, with declassifications, with the star system. I mean, there's a whole bunch of new systems in there that really play off of this whole pillar and this whole idea of replayability within Judgment.